What if everything you believed about building strong bones was only half the story? Most people think they need gallons of dairy products to fortify their skeleton, but emerging research reveals a fascinating truth about tiny powerhouses that outperform milk in calcium content by extraordinary margins. I'm Dr. Elena Carter, a physician with over 10 years of experience specializing in health and quality of life for people over 50. And today I'm going to unveil which microscopic nutritional gems contain up to 10 times more bone-building minerals than traditional dairy sources. You'll discover why sesame seeds, chia seeds, and poppy seeds are revolutionizing bone health science. Learn the critical mistake most people make with vitamin D absorption, and understand how a simple morning routine can dramatically reduce your fracture risk after age 60. Throughout our discussion, I'll walk you through the step-by-step process of incorporating these remarkable seeds into your daily routine, explain the fascinating symphony of nutrients your bones actually need beyond just calcium, and reveal why the countries consuming the most dairy products paradoxically have some of the highest osteoporosis rates worldwide. By the end of this video, you'll have a complete action plan that could transform your skeletal health starting today. Look around you and consider this sobering reality. How many individuals past their 5th decade do you know who live in constant fear of falling? This anxiety about a simple stumble resulting in a shattered hip, broken wrist, or compressed vertebra represents more than just worry. It's a legitimate concern backed by alarming statistics. Research from global osteoporosis foundations indicates that 1 in 3 women and 1 in 5 men over 50 will experience a fragility fracture during their remaining lifetime. These numbers demand that we examine whether our current bone protection strategies are truly effective. The narrative we grew up with seemed straightforward enough. Consume dairy products religiously. We heard repeatedly that milk and cheese represent the ultimate calcium sources, the fundamental building blocks of our skeletal system. However, what happens when those building blocks lose their effectiveness? What occurs when our bodies can no longer process dairy calcium efficiently? The truth is that millions of adults worldwide struggle with lactose intolerance or simply cannot absorb dairy calcium as effectively as they once did. This is where our story takes an exciting turn. Nature, in its remarkable wisdom, provides alternatives that are significantly more potent and concentrated than traditional sources. These tiny nutritional treasures don't just deliver calcium. They arrive with a complete team of minerals and vitamins working synergistically to ensure that calcium reaches its intended destination in your bones. Understanding this concept is crucial because bone health involves far more complexity than simply consuming large quantities of any single nutrient. Before revealing these powerful seeds, it's essential to understand exactly what we're fighting against. Osteoporosis isn't simply about aging bones. It's a progressive disease that operates silently and dangerously. Picture your bones as a building under constant renovation. You have construction workers called osteoblasts building new, strong bone tissue, while demolition crews called osteoclasts remove old or damaged bone material. During youth, these teams maintain perfect balance. The problem emerges with age when the demolition crew begins working overtime, outpacing the construction team. Gradually, your skeletal building loses density, becomes porous and fragile like chalk, and the most dangerous aspect is that this happens silently without pain or symptoms until the first fracture occurs. Medical professionals call osteoporosis the silent epidemic for good reason. Global estimates suggest over 300 million people worldwide suffer from this condition. The statistics become even more concerning when we examine specific demographics. Women face the highest risk, particularly after menopause when declining estrogen levels dramatically accelerate bone loss. However, age and gender aren't the only factors. Genetics play a significant role, with family history of fractures increasing individual risk substantially. Lifestyle choices prove equally critical, as sedentary behavior, smoking, excessive alcohol consumption, and nutrient-poor diets create an almost certain pathway to weakened bones. An osteoporotic fracture represents far more than a temporary inconvenience. Recovery tends to be slow and often incomplete. A hip fracture can permanently end a person's independence, while vertebral compression fractures cause chronic pain and height loss. This is why prevention must be our primary weapon, and that prevention doesn't begin at 60, it starts right now in your kitchen with the choices you make daily. For decades, the dairy industry promoted a simple equation that became deeply embedded in our collective consciousness. Milk equals calcium, and calcium equals steel-strong bones. We saw celebrities with milk mustaches and accepted this message without question. However, scientific research tells a more nuanced story that challenges this oversimplified formula. While milk does contain calcium, approximately 300 milligrams per glass, the crucial question isn't just how much calcium a food contains, but rather how much of that calcium our bodies can actually utilize. This concept is called bioavailability, and it's where the story becomes complicated. The bioavailability of calcium from milk is reasonably good under ideal circumstances. The problem is that countless adults cannot properly digest lactose, the primary sugar in dairy products. When your digestive system struggles with what you're consuming, the absorption of all nutrients, including calcium, becomes significantly compromised. Furthermore, there's a phenomenon researchers call the calcium paradox. Logic would suggest that countries consuming the most dairy products, such as the United States and Northern European nations, would have the strongest bones globally. However, these same countries often exhibit some of the highest osteoporosis rates worldwide. Meanwhile, many Asian and African cultures with traditionally low dairy consumption show lower fracture rates. This doesn't mean dairy causes osteoporosis, absolutely not. It's a complex phenomenon influenced by genetics, vitamin D levels from sun exposure, physical activity patterns, and numerous other factors. It simply demonstrates that the solution isn't as straightforward as consuming more milk. Additionally, optimal bone health depends on much more than calcium alone. While dairy provides calcium, it's not particularly rich in other key players like magnesium or vitamin K2. Flooding your body with calcium without its essential cofactors is like sending bricks to a construction site without cement or workers. The bricks accumulate, but they don't build a solid structure. The point isn't to demonize dairy products. For many people, they represent a valid nutrient source. However, it's crucial to understand that dairy isn't the only option, nor is it the universal magical solution we were led to believe. It's time to open our minds to plant-based sources that don't just compete with dairy, but as we'll see, surpass it in many important aspects. Thinking that calcium alone builds strong bones is like believing a single violinist can perform an entire symphony. Calcium is the soloist, the most famous performer, but without the supporting orchestra, its melody goes nowhere. Your bone health represents a symphony of nutrients, so let's meet the musicians. The conductor is vitamin D, which serves as the master controller. Its primary job involves allowing the calcium you consume to be absorbed in your intestines. You could consume all the calcium in the world, but without adequate vitamin D, it's as if that calcium never entered your body. The best source of vitamin D is sunlight, as our skin produces it when exposed to UVB rays. The problem is that modern life keeps us indoors extensively, and we use sunscreen regularly, making vitamin D deficiency a global epidemic. The traffic director is vitamin K2, which acts like a GPS system telling calcium where to go once vitamin D gets it into your bloodstream. Calcium can end up in your bones and teeth, which is excellent, or in your arteries and kidneys, which is terrible. Vitamin K2 activates proteins that direct calcium toward bones, while simultaneously preventing arterial accumulation. Without sufficient K2, calcium might end up hardening your arteries instead of strengthening your bones. The indispensable partner is magnesium, which works inseparably with calcium. Magnesium is necessary for vitamin D activation, so it can perform its job effectively. Additionally, a significant portion of your body's magnesium is stored in bones, forming part of their structure and stimulating the cells that build them. Many modern diets are magnesium poor, creating an imbalance with calcium that can be detrimental. Other essential helpers include phosphorus, the second most abundant mineral in bones after calcium, forming a dynamic duo that provides rigidity and strength to the skeleton. Zinc and copper are crucial for manufacturing collagen, the flexible mesh upon which minerals are deposited. Without proper collagen scaffolding, bones become brittle. Boron, this often forgotten mineral, helps reduce calcium and magnesium loss through urine while enhancing vitamin D's effectiveness. Now that you understand the complete orchestra, you can see why simplistic solutions don't work. This is where the seeds I'm about to discuss shine brilliantly. They're not only incredibly rich in calcium, but also provide magnesium, phosphorus, zinc, and other team players, offering a complete symphonic solution for your bones. Let's begin our journey through these nutritional powerhouses, saving the star performer for last. First, chia seeds represent a true nutritional command center. Chia was a staple food for Aztec and Mayan warriors, which isn't surprising given its remarkable properties. Regarding calcium content, chia is extraordinary. Gram for gram, it contains approximately 5 times more calcium than milk. Just 2 tablespoons, about 30 grams, provide around 200 milligrams of calcium. But as you now understand, the story doesn't end there. Chia ranks among the best plant sources of omega-3 fatty acids, which combat inflammation, a process that accelerates bone deterioration. It's also an excellent source of phosphorus, magnesium, and manganese. Crucially, chia contains boron, that mineral which helps metabolize calcium and enhances vitamin D effectiveness. It's true that chia contains phytates, which can slightly reduce calcium absorption, but there's an easy solution: soak them. When mixed with water or plant milk, chia forms its characteristic gel, which not only facilitates digestion, but also helps release nutrients. Using chia is incredibly simple. Prepare chia pudding for breakfast, blend it into smoothies or yogurt, or sprinkle it over salads. It's a delicious and versatile first step toward better bone health. Next, prepare yourself for a surprise with poppy seeds, the unexpected calcium champions. Those tiny black spheres you see on certain breads represent, gram for gram, one of the most concentrated calcium sources on the planet. The numbers are astounding. 100 grams of poppy seeds contain up to 1,400 milligrams of calcium. That's more than 12 times the calcium found in 100 milliliters of milk. Obviously, you won't consume 100 grams at once, but just 1 or 2 tablespoons add a very significant amount of calcium to your day. Naturally, it comes with its supporting orchestra, being very rich in phosphorus, manganese, magnesium, and copper, all essential for bone structure. To maximize absorption, it's wise to grind poppy seeds just before use with a coffee or spice grinder. Their nutty flavor is wonderful in yogurts, smoothies, salad dressings, or baked goods. A small note about moderation: as with everything, balance is key. Enjoy them in normal culinary quantities. Finally, here's the seed that inspired this entire discussion, the undisputed protagonist in the fight for strong bones. Sesame seeds, also known as tahini seeds when ground into paste. If poppy seed numbers surprised you, hold on tight. 100 grams of whole, unhulled sesame seeds contain approximately 975 milligrams of calcium. Again, gram for gram, almost 10 times more than milk. What makes sesame supreme is its incredible richness in other minerals. It's one of the best sources of copper, which gives bones flexibility, and it's loaded with magnesium, phosphorus, and especially zinc, a vital mineral for bone-building cells. 2 crucial points about sesame seeds. First, whenever possible, choose unhulled sesame, where most of the calcium is concentrated. Second, to absorb its nutrients properly, you need to grind it or chew it very thoroughly. The easiest and most delicious way to consume it is as tahini, that creamy paste that's the base of hummus. Use it on toast, in dressings, or smoothies. It's incredibly versatile. You can also make gomashio, a Japanese condiment of ground sesame and salt. One small consideration is that sesame contains oxalates, which can slightly limit calcium absorption. However, the calcium amount is so high that the final balance remains very positive. Additionally, sesame is a common allergen, so be careful if you've never tried it before. Now that you have the information, it's time for action. Building strong bones is the sum of small daily habits. Here's your roadmap. First, revolutionize your pantry by making tahini your best friend. Use it on toast, as a base for salad dressings, or for dipping vegetables. Transform your breakfast by preparing chia pudding or adding a tablespoon of ground chia to smoothies or oatmeal. Experiment with poppy seeds and sesame by adding ground seeds to yogurts or sprinkling them over any dish, from soups to stir-fries. Create your own bone-building mix by combining these 3 seeds. Second, get smart about vitamin D through sun exposure. Try to get sun on your arms and legs for about 10 to 20 minutes daily, several times per week, especially at midday. The key is brief, regular exposure while avoiding burning your skin. Consider supplementation, especially in winter or if you don't get out much. It's almost impossible to obtain sufficient vitamin D from food alone. Talk to your doctor about measuring your levels and recommending a D3 supplement if necessary. Third, move your skeleton because exercise is non-negotiable. Bones, like muscles, strengthen with use. Impact exercises like walking, running, dancing, and climbing stairs send signals to your bones to become stronger. Strength training through weightlifting, resistance bands, or bodyweight exercises like squats and push-ups stimulates bone formation. Balance work through yoga or Tai Chi is fantastic for improving balance and reducing fall risk, the primary cause of fractures. Fourth, clean up your diet by eliminating bone thieves. Reduce salt intake because excess sodium causes calcium loss through urine. Watch out for ultra-processed foods and moderate soft drinks and alcohol, as excessive consumption of both can interfere with bone health. Quit smoking completely, as it's directly toxic to bone-forming cells. Fifth, consult your doctor because this plan is a powerful tool, but it doesn't replace professional advice. Osteoporosis is a serious medical condition. If you have risk factors, talk to your doctor. They can recommend a bone density scan to assess your bone status and create a comprehensive treatment plan if needed. Remember that every meal is an opportunity. Each time you add a spoonful of tahini, a handful of chia, or a touch of poppy seeds, you're investing in a future with more mobility, more independence, and less fear. The takeaway is one of empowerment. Osteoporosis doesn't have to be an inevitable sentence of aging. You're not a passive victim. You have the tools in your pantry and daily habits to build a bone structure that will support you firmly throughout your entire life. I hope this journey has opened your eyes to new possibilities for taking care of yourself. Nature provides us with incredible tools, and now the power is in your hands. If this video has brought you value, I'd love for you to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our upcoming content. Give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful, and please share it with your loved ones, especially those you want to protect. Your simple gesture could make a tremendous difference in someone's health journey. Now it's your turn to take action. Leave me a comment below telling me which of these seeds you're going to start incorporating into your diet first. I love reading your experiences and learning from your health journeys together.